I don't I don't do it as much now because I kind of focus on sync, and honestly, the like I create songs with artists, but they're more so sync based artists. You know what I mean? And there's like, there can be a difference between the artist who works in sync a lot and just the artist who has no idea about sync. Um, so yeah, I'm either working with artists who just their primary focus is sync, or I'm working with songwriters who are just super duper dope that they can honestly be artists, but they prefer to just chill and just be really great songwriters. So yeah, interested to hear your take on budgeting with inconsistent income from quarterly royalties. Ooh, this is a good question. Um, so budgeting when you don't know how much you're getting every quarter. That's why I waited for a few years before quitting my job. Like I waited a few years for my music business to make, either the same or more than my day job before I actually quit. Because of that exact reason. It's like, you could have a great quarter, you could have a great year, but will it be consistent, and can you build a budget around it? So if you do it like over the span of 3 years, you can kind of take a step back and see, okay, this is about what I make on average every year. So what you could do is, depending on how much you get, well, first you can save up, and just kind of create a saving. So if you do have like a slow quarter or something like that, you got something you can pull from to make sure the bills still get paid. So that's number one. You get that. Then you could budget out your bills quarterly. So if you only get paid quarterly, if it's enough to where you can like budget out your bills, say for the next few months or whatever, you could do it that way. And then okay, boom, everything is covered for these next 3 months. So for these next 3 months, I'm gonna just grind and work on projects and make more money and do what I have to do, to make sure, when the next quarter comes around, you're in a good place, and then you'll see what that royalty check is, and then that'll just kind of add to that. So you can kind of budget it out quarterly. If you're getting paid quarterly, you budget it out quarterly. I recommend, creating like just multiple streams of income, so you're not just solely relying on the quarterly royalties, because those can go up and down. So, think about all the skills you have as a producer. Are there other things you can do to generate income in your business? So, if you're leasing beats to artists, or you're working on artist projects, if you're recording, engineering, mixing, mastering, voiceover work. I know some producers in here do voiceover stuff. Video editing, audio editing, like whatever it is, like just do other things so that you're not just relying on just like the single stream within your production business, because those streams don't be streaming like you want them to stream all the time. So you need some other streams to add to the stream when that stream gets low. So that's what I recommend, doing that, making sure you got 3 to 6 months saved up to begin with, and then start budgeting. You can start budgeting from a quarterly perspective or monthly, like however, like it depends on what your cash flow looks like at the end of the day. So yeah. I was asking to see if there was a way to avoid paying income tax on the LLC's revenue in your home state by having an out-of-state LLC somewhere like Wyoming where there is no income tax. No, because if you're operating in another state and you're doing business in another state, that requires taxes. Like once you hit a certain, I think it may be like a certain threshold. Once you hit a certain threshold, they're gonna be like, yeah, like you gotta pay up because you're living here. You're living here. You're operating your business here. You're making money here. We need that. We need some of that. So you'll have, your state taxes and your federal taxes. That's just gonna follow you no matter what state you're in, because that's at the federal level. And then I guess you probably wouldn't get taxed double if the other state doesn't have income tax. But yeah, or whatever. Yeah, um, income tax. So yeah, I don't think there's a way you can avoid that in a non-complicated way. um, so yeah. All right, let's see. We got time for more questions. I hear about that a lot. People setting up LLCs in Nevada for different reasons. But yeah, I'm not sure. TuneFind and iSpot generally only play songs. I haven't found anywhere to listen to instrumental tracks that are being placed, especially on ads. Am I missing a resource? That's a good point. You definitely hear mostly songs on those. But instrumentals, with instrumentals, yeah, I don't think there's not that I know of, man. Like outside of just the music libraries themselves, like the music libraries will have all the instrumentals, or just listening to the shows. But of course, you listening to people talk over that stuff. But yeah, I think like just going directly to the music library's website is probably the only place you can listen to some instrumental stuff. But then that's kind of hard because you can't necessarily tell what's gotten placed, when you're surfing through that stuff. So yeah. Yeah, reference gold mine for sure. LW, listen, like they about to shut this joint down. Like, nope. So I don't know how that. I don't think I played it long enough. I don't know how that works on the podcast platform. So we'll see if I get a nice little email. Then we'll know. Okay, we can't do that anymore. So yeah, I see BMI is trying to sell themselves again. Would you recommend steering clear and signing with ASCAP or CSAC? I know people say go with whichever is active in your city, but neither is active. Ain't nobody active in ATL. BMI may be here, but yeah. You know what? I mean, I don't know. Like, I think we'll have to see. Like, BMI selling. I don't know. I don't know what that would end up looking like for the writers. Not sure if it would be a bad thing or a good thing. So I'm not sure. It's a good question. Something to think about. Sing licensing, generational wealth. Point blank. That's it. So yeah. Will there be any music soups at Shades of Sync, and will there be a pitch session with some feedback from them? Yes, there will be. There will be music supervisors there. There'll be sync agents. There'll be, like, we're literally trying to bring in everyone from like every step of the process in sync. So we've been reaching out to music coordinators, supervisors, sync agents, library owners, creatives, artists, songwriters, people in video game space, sound design, producers, people who work on ads, people who work on trailers, people who work on production music for TV. Like, we're literally like trying to cover every every part of the spectrum when it comes to sync. So yeah, that is definitely happening. And then yeah, me and Jay were talking about that. We was just like, yo, we're trying to figure out how we want to do like the pitch session. But yeah, that's something that we definitely want to implement, because like I feel like you'll get a lot of value from that. Like, you're already in the building with them. Why not set up some type of pitch session where they can at least listen to it? And then if it's something they rock with, then maybe you guys can continue the conversation further, outside the event. So yeah, we're definitely going to make sure something like that is in place, because I mean, that's what it's all about, man. Connecting the dots and giving you all opportunity, and the information to make it happen, man. Because we made it happen. So we know how information can change a situation. So we're about to share all of it in a day. So yeah. Is the venue already picked out for Shades of Sync? Looking for hotels close to the venue? Yes, it is. It'll be in I think it's in Midtown. For sure. But yeah, you will definitely keep you updated. For every, like, all the ticket holders, you guys are gonna get emails and stuff about venue address, so you guys can start planning ahead and things like that. But if I'm not mistaken, let me see. Let me see. I think it's in Midtown though, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull up my maps. It's like, let me zoom out. It's more Buckhead. Yeah, it's Buckhead-ish. Yeah, no, that's definitely Buckhead. So yeah, Buckhead area. You end up anywhere in the Buckhead area, you're good. So yeah. And then even if you're like a little like outside, you'll still be kind of good. Depending on, like, getting near a major freeway. That airport traffic get crazy though, so we're definitely not trying to be close to that. Especially if you're getting out by like rush hour. Oh my gosh. So it was a masterclass. Yeah, definitely shoot them an email. Do you have an engineer master your 2 tracks, and what should we expect per track if we do? No, I mix and master my own stuff, but definitely have. It depends on the company. Like, whatever the company wants you to have as far as stems, make sure you get that stuff. But I would, to make it easier, if you don't know and you're working with another engineer, have them bounce out all of your stems, individual stems, mastered and unmastered, so you get both versions, and then you can kind of create your own mixes from there. Because you really don't have to do much, but do some leveling stuff, and then you're good to go. So yeah. AJ, what's your creation process? Do you create a few sounds for different types of briefs? I create templates. So once I have something that worked and gets accepted and gets placed, I'll create a template from it, and then that'll be what I use for a particular style. So I've been itching to do some more Amapiano music, so I have a template for that. I have a template for like the epic hip hop stuff, a template for ambient stuff, tension stuff.